South African Democratic Teachers Union's General Secretary Mugwena Maluleke, who's joining us tonight. Mr. Maluleke, good evening, and thank you so much for your time this evening. Firstly, let's recap then just on the Education Minister's brief tonight, along with her MECs in the different provinces. Are you satisfied going into tomorrow?
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers at home, and thank you indeed for having us. We are worried by the fact that whatever the minister has been able to share with the nation still leaves much in terms of the concern we have about the safety of our teachers and the safety of our children. The minister didn't have the necessary data to back her plan, and therefore we, as an organization, are really concerned because we had thought that the minister would really appreciate the fact that the numbers are rising, and when the numbers are rising, we're supposed to be having fewer learners in our schools in order to be able to stabilize them, to establish formidable preventative measures. However, the decision has been taken, and therefore ours is to make sure that we monitor the compliance and ensuring that there's safety for everybody in our schools.
There, however, does seem to be a couple of concessions that were made, one of them around the grade R learners who can be phased in at a much later stage. When you talk about the discrepancies in terms of the data, what are you referring to specifically?
Look, yes, there are concessions that have been made, but those concessions basically are not made because of the educational soundness of it. They are made because the infrastructure is still reflecting the two nations in our country. In other words, there is no infrastructure that will be able to protect the grade R learners, but also it is because the fact that the department is not ready in terms of the provision of the essentials for all the learners that were supposed to be coming back to school. And those concessions were made on that particular basis, but it has not been what they were saying from the beginning. It was like everything is it's 100%. And therefore, we will then be monitoring if all schools are ready to receive grade 11 and grade 6. And therefore, we must make it very clear that where the school is not ready, where the essentials are not available, do not risk the teachers and risk the learners to go into that school. Make sure that it's not free for all, because we have seen that once the schools are reopened, we are left on our own as the teachers, and therefore the department is waiting for another phase to be faced in, rather than to be with us on a daily basis when we have problems about the cases, when we have a problem about no water, when the water has run out of the tank. We are on our own, and therefore we would have loved a situation where indeed we remain with the 2 grades. However, as I'm saying, we now have additional grades. Our role is to ensure that we are going to monitor and ensure that we feed the employer with information about the problems that are there. But when it is a peak time, the minister must not hesitate to shut down the school. When we see that it's a hotspot area, the minister must not shy, must shut down that particular school in order to save lives.
Mr. Maluleke, do you think that the department should effectively be working on a plan that accommodates the fact that the schooling year, number one, will not be complete and therefore will have big implications for what happens next year?
Yes, the department is supposed to be by now ready with a plan that begins to say to all of us that, look, we are going to extend this year into 2021 in order to complete the work that we shall have not completed. The plan around the issue of the revised curriculum, or what they call trimmed curriculum, must be able to give us comfort that we are not chasing the calendar year or the academic year at the expense of life. So when it is not possible to do what we are supposed to be doing, when the school is not able to work because of the area is a hotspot, that particular plan must be flexible to allow that reality to then say how best we are going to be able to help our learners as and when the situation is much better than what we are seeing now.
South African Democratic Teachers Union General Secretary Mugwena Maluleke. Let's leave it there for tonight.